Right. Hello, everybody in the prophetic heart healing world. We are so glad that you are here joining us. Let me just find us in Facebook. That is always the important part. When we are going live, we have to go find ourselves. And it's a good thing to find ourselves in prophetic heart healing. So there we are. I have with me Laura Coppock. She is one of our certified facilitators. She's an author. She's an RVer. And the other day I saw she's a bike rider too now. And just living the life and doing all the fun things that she does. So Laura, while I tag everybody here, why don't you tell us about how you came to find yourself in the position to become a prophetic heart healer? Tell us that story.
Yeah, definitely. So as I was reflecting and kind of thinking about this, becoming a prophetic heart healer was not something that was on my radar. I have had experience with counseling. I even had experience with the Emmanuel moment in counseling. I had addressed, family of origin issues, relationship issues. At one point, I went to a counselor just desperate, and she was through my church, and she used the Emmanuel moment. That was the first place I experienced true healing. So then fast forward, I did children's ministry. I worked in admin positions, did children's ministry, and then became a substitute teacher and a teacher. And through all of that, I really had a heart for encouraging others to go to counseling. Like I found healing. So I'm like, hey, you need to try this. Something's bothering your relationship. Hey, go try this. So that was always a part of my DNA, was wanting other people to find freedom in the stuff that they were stuck in, because I had. So then fast forward to 2023, I think, or the end of 2022, a girlfriend actually sent me the link for the 3-day starting at 2023. And I watched the video and attended the 3-day, and I couldn't put it down. Everything in me ignited, everything in me was bubbling up. I considered doing the program. I even did research with a couple of other prophetic or heart healing modalities, and nothing compared. Like they were all just watch the video, do the homework, turn it in, get a certificate. There was no element of community. There was no element of face-to-face talking, or at least, Zoom talking and processing. So yeah, so with some serious prayer and just diving in with my husband, I'm like, I don't think I can say no to this, honey. It was pretty much my response. So we did. So he backed me 100%, and we jumped into luckily I started in January or February and went through the year. But so it was a year of just diving in and going deeper than I ever imagined going.
I love that so much. And so as you were going through the program, kind of walk us through, number one, like your own heart healing process as you were going through this, how it affected, the different areas of your life, and what you discovered as a student in the certification program that you were like, oh, I didn't even know this could be a part of a certification program.
Oh my gosh, there was so much. I think every other week there was like oh, I didn't know I could do that. The thing that bubbles up to me and keeps coming back when I think about the certification process was that I learned how deep and how extensive the more is, and that he has done abundantly more than we could ever hope or imagine. We have no idea. So during the certification process, there was healing, just even starting out with the heart wheel and taking a temperature. And I love doing, where am I on a personality test, and finding out more, not just for myself, but how people interact together, right? Birth order, all of those things. So just even being allowed to take an inventory on our own hearts at the beginning of the process was huge, because then you can see, oh, okay, I'm stronger here, but oh, this is still really weak. So that was the first aha moment. What else was there? There was the intentionality of going week to week and really leaning into what Tarak was teaching and what I was seeing from Elise during those heart healing sessions. It went everywhere from, because I think that some of the biggest ones were dealing with, even though I believed in the resurrection and I knew as Christians we can call out the truth, the power of that resurrection and moving people from the wrong side of the cross to the right side of the cross with those little heart wounds that we have and the lies that we believe. That was huge. That was huge. It really kind of rocked the core of my belief system. And I was brought up in a, as an adult, I grew up in a Bible filled, spirit filled, non-denominational church where, there was prophetic Sundays and there were these things that were going on. So I'd had a taste, but there was still so much that the church had skewed. So I really had to challenge myself to lean in and to hear what Tarak was teaching and say, okay, God, what do you say about this? Because this is different from what I've heard before.
So something that you shared a moment ago that intrigues me, and speak to those who are thinking that way too. It seems to me you went from being that brainiac person, that academic thinker, you're an educator, so obviously you have to be in your brain. How did you merge that with what was transpiring in your heart? And how did those two come together for your heart healing?
Mm. Well, everything that I challenged with, I took to my heart healing sessions. Um, I was reading the scriptures and I was praying, and I already had an element of a heart connection with Jesus. But I knew that anytime I felt a little bit of that internal struggle, or I like to say it, my fists, where I'm holding back on something because I can physically get that emotional stance. Anytime I felt that, I was like, okay, I need to go take this to my next heart healing session, whether it was in the practice or during one of the group sessions. And a couple of times I went back to my original counselor. I'm like, hey, Margie, I got to prepare my heart for this thing I'm doing over here. Um, can you help? But it really was just leaning in and being willing to give up what I already know, knowing that he has, he can expand it, right? Just like the universe expands the further out we go. The more we accept the truth, the more it expands for us.
Yeah, so there's always this thing about rewiring our brain and our thinking. How did that work for you? From your brain knew certain things that I'd obviously had compartmentalized and packed away for another day. And
Mm-hmm.
then as the healing happened, it started unlocking those. And did your thinking at all change? Did you go through a time where you are like, oh, wait a minute, for the last so many years I've been thinking about that, but I've been thinking about it like behind a closed door, and now I can bring it into the open.
Yes, very much so. I think some of the topics where I did that was, and I'm losing track of whether it was foundation skills or
All the different
authority. Right,
some of
all
them have
of
been
them.
done.
Um, but for instance, I knew I had father wounds. I knew I had the orphan spirit, knew it in my head. Didn't know the triggers or didn't know the root causes. So that was totally up to Jesus. I could hear his voice. And when I would give him a belief, or give him just, I'm going to surrender this to you. I'm going to let go of it long enough to trust you for something else. He's the one that replaced that. So it wasn't me overthinking, or it was probably him taking away the overthinking. And he did that exchange in my heart, where it resonated deep inside, where it cleared out, so that it's almost like a flash of light so bright that you can no longer see the other things, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What would be your greatest testimony of coming out of the certification program that you felt changed your life and you never want to go back?
I think there was so much work on my identity in this. And like I said, I I thought I knew it. I thought I was pretty strong in it, right? I did all these things. Um, the knowledge that I am allowed to change my atmosphere, the wisdom that I carry God's DNA. And I was so honored to be able to lead that for Daily Healer for a time. Um, it has altered anything and everything I do. And I'm thankful that Troc even challenged, like, for those who, you're going to have challenges in the program. There's going to be challenges where you feel like you emotionally or even physically want to push back at what you're hearing. And Troc is amazing at identifying those things and speaking to it in love. I'm so thankful for that, because I needed that. I needed that firmness. And that allowed me to respond to God's love, God's fatherly love, in a much different manner than I had in the past.
So walk us through, you're in the certification program, you have those challenges of just life challenges, right? You're a substitute teacher, you're a teacher, you're an author, you're a wife, you're a mom, you've got all these things going on, and now you're going through the certification program.
Yeah.
Walk me through two things. Number one, how did you make it work with all of that? And number two, in making it work and everything, what did you see in your own heart healing that was starting to surface and making you ready to be a certified facilitator?
Okay, so how did I make it work with all the things? That is such a good question, because I know it's something we all struggled with. I think first thing was the community that we had built. That was part of our backstage encouragement, right? We linked arms. We kept each other accountable. We encouraged each other. That was a really important aspect of it. And I am not a joiner.
You're not a groupie?
I'm not a groupie. No. I'm an introvert by nature, and God's restructuring that. I'm introvert with lots of speaking skills, social skills. But he drew that out of me. He healed that so that I desired connection and desired healthy connection. There was a lot of looking at my calendar week by week, not only with my husband, but with just with God, saying, okay, these are all the things I'm feeling overwhelmed. What are my top 3 priorities? And then asking for help. And I was asking for help from my husband, and I'm so blessed that he was so supportive. And I had to learn how to let go of some of the other things. I like a clean house. It was not always dust free and clean free. And that's hard to live in when you live in a fifth wheel, just saying.
Right, the small space, even a piece of paper can make it look like the place has exploded.
But through all of that, Jesus was also using that space to remove the burden of having to do it all and to be it all. Even the lie that I'm a mess, which led to a threat of perfectionism. there's been so much breaking down of those things. And some of it was one and done. Some of it, there were several or multiple triggers or cues or causes that along the way God's revealed and healed. Um, but yeah, my husband sees a difference. My daughter sees a difference. The people around me who know me have seen a difference, and that's allowed me to give that space to my clients, to have empathy and understanding from a different discernment level for the people that I minister to. And then it just allows allows more space for creativity, allows more space for fun, for the other good things that God has for us.
You know, one of the things I love about healing from perfectionism is we actually get to love our human element so much more. That it's okay if it's not perfect.
Yes.
It is what it is in the moment we're living in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, then you got certified. Congratulations. Woo!
Woohoo.
You became a certified facilitator. So walk us through the process of what have you done with your certification? What's on the horizon for you? How far are you reaching, and are you going and growing and just exploding?
I love that. So yes, I got certified at the end of 2023. So 2024, we made the decision and became a part of the business program, right?
Business
Used to be
accelerator,
HLBA.
right?
Yeah, HLBA. We changed names. That's okay. And that was huge. I just dedicated myself to diving into first meeting my certification requirements for the following year. I knocked that out first. Um, and I've actually rewatched the Thinkific lessons, taken new notes, gone back and looked at my old notes and highlighted my ahas and new ahas and all of those things. And then I really dove into the business aspects. And I discovered that I'm a big picture person. I knew this, but I needed to see all the things and then start putting the pieces into order. And I, went to God. I'm like, I feel like I'm not catching momentum. And he's like, baby girl, you're gonna have the momentum. Let's build you up the way I built you to build you up, and you'll be rolling. Don't worry about it. Um, so in the meantime, I got to lead group sessions for PHH through their old daily healer program. That was amazing. I loved the training for doing the group sessions. Um, Not only did I do group sessions for the daily healer, but I also have started doing was doing group healing sessions for a Phoenix writers group that I run. So it's helping writers connect with those hearts, because whatever's coming out of our hearts for kingdom purpose needs to come from a place of being healed as well. So that's been really transformative for the members that have been coming to our groups, sessions, and meetings and conferences. On top of that, so I've been building my business. I'm working on a website. I have an email list. That was kind of my first focus since I'm a writer anyway. So I used my email and the clients that I had through the certification process. And through that, I kept a community. I build a community. I offer them, encouragement and, um, you know, emails full of hope and um, just offering them a piece of myself to help them keep going. And that's really kind of built that community. My next step is to start a Facebook community group, and then some kind of a package. Lord's kind of be talking to me about doing a group heart healing sessions inside of a Facebook group with women, focusing on identity, focusing on clearing up their obstacles. So anybody who's stuck, and then moving forward from that.
Yeah, beautiful. Anyone with writer's block needs a heart healing session with Laura.
Yes.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. So now that you are, all this is working out, some folks are going to be watching you and they're sitting here going, I've been in this group for a while. I just have not clicked that button to join the certification group because I've got this and this and this and this going on in my life. How would you encourage someone to take the step, the things to consider even, whether this program is for them? I know, you're that critical thinker of thinking through all these different steps. And so what would you say to those thinky people?
Those thinky people. I would say, and this is where I go anti-thinky people. I'm like, check your heart. Sorry. Sorry, man.
That's so funny.
Like, because as much as we are thinky people, when you've got that thing stuck under your fingernail that you can't let go of. Consider your capacity. Consider the investment. But when you're weighing all those things, don't dismiss the value in what you're investing, because you are going to invest time. For me, it was 2 to 3 to 5 hours a week. You're investing in building relationships. You're investing in spending that time of diving deep. Not all of that fits on a spreadsheet. Not all of that fits on a pro and con list. If God's calling you there, he's going to take you through it. He's going to cover the question marks. And sometimes that's the most fun, is getting to see how he covers those question marks. The Lord gave me a really cool picture in my last heart healing session myself, and it was a picture of me parasailing with Jesus. And, sometimes when you're parasailing, the boat will roll you back down, so your feet are dragging in the ocean, and then you get lifted back up. And God was just reminding me that even when we don't know all the details, there's exhilaration in the dips. There's refreshing in the dips. And that whole time, when I was parasailing, I wasn't worried about where the boat was going. I wasn't worried about whether the sail parasailing was up or down. I was harnessed in, and Jesus reminded me that God was driving the boat. So I would just release that over anybody who is struggling or you're not sure. Lean in, do a heart healing session on it. Talk to a friend, you can call and talk to Bianca or Tarak or any of the other people who are there to support you. Ask the questions. They will help you identify whether those obstacles are physical, or are they emotional, or are they spiritual, and how to overcome them.
Yeah, I love that so much. Your parasailing made me think of something that you said, that Jesus is in the dips even too. It's that thing that we're taught even in PHH. It's not what's happening to you, it's what's happening for you. Yeah, and what we think is a dip is most likely just a blessing waiting to its fulfillment, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, and that's one of the other things I think that's changed so much, is that now when I get a trigger or I hear a friend have a trigger, I get excited. I'm like, that's Jesus saying that now is the time. He wants to open that up and examine that, and he wants to change that up for you.
Yeah.
So as frustrated as we get with those wounds and those heart things holding us back, going through this prophetic healing allows you to get healed, and then allows you to pay it forward for the other people.
So last question, what does 2025 look like for you from a place of being a certified facilitator? You've got all these starting pieces going. What's your biggest vision for yourself, knowing that you've got the PHH community still around you, and you can just go towards this vision, towards this dream, towards this goal?
Yes. So 2025, My word has been accelerate. So that's kind of fun. Um, my vision is that I am creating resources to help women with identity. I'm finishing a devotional for single moms dealing with identity. And then one of my goals this year is to reach out. There's 5 or 6 very large nonprofits that target single moms or are single moms or pregnant moms um, who are houseless. And I'm preparing letters and reaching out because I want to offer service to them and doing heart healing sessions and group sessions and then providing resources for them. On top of that, I know God's planning on growing just my business because this is a plan for me to step away from teaching altogether. And I'm still waiting for him to show all of that. But that's growing. The website's almost finished. Some of the nails and the hardware is getting put into place. It's just we haven't put the outside skin on it yet.
I love that. Your framework is being built
Yes,
so that you can fill it in.
most definitely.
I love that so much.
Mhm.
Would you do a prayer of blessing just over those who will be watching this as we close out our time today?
Yes, yes, of course. Thank you so much. Father, I just thank you. Thank you that you love us. Thank you that you are unstoppable and that you are always chasing after us. That you are pursuing our hearts and that your design and desire for us is that we walk in the freedom that you have provided through your son. Lord, I just pray a blessing over each person in the PHH environment, each person um, just standing at that crossroad, wondering, do I cross over? Father, I pray that you would just give them just a rich discernment, a rich wisdom, even pictures that dance in their heads while they sleep of what you have for them and of how you have designed them to be in this place at this time for this season. And I pray that you would put wind in their dreams. I pray that you would put wheels on the tools that you want to give them, Lord, and that you would just surround them with other people to encourage them, to lift them up, and to speak life as you pull them closer to you, Lord. I thank you that you pull healing out of us. I thank you that not a single one of us has to walk in that pain and in that discomfort and in the discouragement that the world says we need to live in. We just thank you, Father. In your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. And thank you for being on with us today. For those of you who are watching from Facebook, if you were impacted by Laura's testimony, if you're a thinky people and you want to be a heart healing people, then there is a link at the top of this video and I put it in the comments. Please click on that link. You'll be connected with one of our PHH team members to be able to set up a call and determine if going into the certification program and being around amazing people like Laura is where you want to be. She'll be waiting for you. Just use her name when you're going in and say, Laura's story is what made me click this link. And then it would be fun to hear back from you if you do choose to do the certification program. It's so wonderful when you give your testimony and you know it's affected someone, right?
Yes, yes, it's so powerful.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you. Have an amazing week further, and we'll be back next week with another episode of Testimony Tuesday here in the PHH group. Thank you, Laura. God bless.
Thank you, Bianca. Bye, everyone.